Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. We're in Game 2 on Open Waters. Game 2 of the best of 15 between ZLO and Voodoo. Voodoo in the last game had Seraphim versus Cybern, where he wanted to surprise ZLO. Surprised it did not work. It was a rather short game. This time he's going to go with Aeon. So Voodoo is going to continue to use floating units to his advantage, or attempt to. Meanwhile, ZLO sticks with his favorite Siren. He showed off the frigate in the last game. It was very effective. I think he got more than half his kills using his Siren frigates. Of course, hopefully these players can finish the best of 15 before the weekend. We got a whole bunch of tourneys this weekend. We got the under 1800, over 1800, the Intergalactic Coliseum between the clans. All kinds of great stuff is happening on Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Second air, no surprise, just like last time. Second air, no surprise, a lot of power. We'll see what Voodoo does with his ACU this time. Also want to remind people, promote the game, talk about it, discuss it, tell people why it's better or how it compares to other games. Any kind of media that you can create. Articles, things like that, just post all over forums. Or if you have some special idea, I'd love to hear it. ZLO, I don't think ZLO is really changing up his build order. This is pretty much what it is. One thing he is changing, he's going to build this mass ejector from the water. He's going to make that attempt, see if that works. That might save him a little bit of time. Also, I think the Navy this time is a little bit, might be a little quicker. And what I'll do with these games, I'm going to try to pack as many of them as possible into a short amount of time. So I will speed them up, slow them down. Try not to be too erratic with the camera. Early Navy from Voodoo. This time, now Voodoo is going to have Aeon Tech 1 Navy, which is significantly stronger than the Seraphim. If you get the frigates together with the submarines, the frigates do have the anti-torpedo capability, which doesn't make too much of a difference later on, but in these engagements between a few Tech 1 ships, it makes a fairly big difference. It's really one or two shots that make all the difference in the submarine war. It's quite specific. Frigate first from ZLO. Voodoo slightly behind. The ACU for Voodoo is going to go to the middle. So once again, you can see the difference between these two players. ZLO going to the bottom side. Meanwhile, Voodoo going to the middle. I have to say, Aeon may be the best faction here. Aeon is significantly better than Seraphim with their Auroras. If you want to grab map control, you can see this Aurora just rushing up. Yeah, and ZLO realizes that he's got good coverage there. He needs to hide from the Aurora. It will be difficult. Also, Tech to Air for Aeon is very strong. However, I don't believe Aeon Tech to bombers are very effective in this water. You can see there's a lot of this white patches in the water. It's very shallow water where your torpedo planes might not work depending on which faction you have. And Aeon torpedo bombers are the worst. In deep water it's all fine. A bomber coming in from ZLO, this will be critical. If ZLO can kill that Aurora, the Aurora is going to attempt to dodge and kill the engineer. You can see, yeah, that's quite a bit of micro. And early on, submarine versus frigate. This frigate will take a while to kill it, but the frigate will do a lot more damage against other units. You can see an engineer just got taken out. And once again, just like in the last game, Voodoo is able to sneak in engineers into both side bodies of mass. I don't know if we want to call these, not quite islands. The continents. This is an island. These three are islands. And a naval chase. The frigates running in behind. 100% submarines so far from Voodoo. ZLO seems to have an advantage in the air and this battle. Looks like the engineer survived and a dead Aurora. Good work from the bomber. The bomber is still alive, although will it drop off? Successful kill on an engineer. I'll slow us down even further. This naval situation is interesting. It's an escalation of build capacity on the naval factories. You see it's a total of 5 engineers. A few more for ZLO. Losing Navy for ZLO would be a little more dangerous. And in terms of total naval units that are present, there is an advantage for ZLO. Voodoo has an advantage in terms of mass. And why does he have that? Yeah, he's got the middle. That's 3 extra mass extractors. That's a large fraction of that. There's also an engineer in the middle from ZLO. Attempts to steal some mass. And the bottom landmass, if I had to make a prediction, I'd say ZLO is going to have it without too much trouble. We'll see how much Voodoo decides to invest. He doesn't want to just give it away. Oh, whoa, this is important. This engineer died. That must have been that bomber I missed. That is critical. This puts Voodoo in a fairly difficult situation. He needs to grab... this will be hard to hold on to, so he needs to grab the top. And he's definitely behind. And without air coverage, which, yeah, he's completely lost. He does have a couple of two Tech 2 mask extractors. Yeah, that is a very big difference in this one. Voodoo has been upgrading. Voodoo could be in trouble. We're also seeing a Tech 2 naval move from ZLO. That could be interesting. ZLO will attempt to suppress any kind of expansion. Good looking scout. Very important. Meanwhile, Voodoo will harass these engineers. Very fragile. With some bombers, you can really slow things down. And I think with this ACU should just march down, take over. So both air and naval domination from ZLO in this game. And some critical kills. And Tech 2 Navy. Now a destroyer is coming out first. What Voodoo has done is made 2 Tech 2 mask extractors. I think he's gonna regret doing that. Instead of those, he could have had a lot more units, but he doesn't. ZLO is actually now ahead of him in terms of mass. That's where map control beats teching. And yeah, ZLO is just gonna march down. Total air domination by ZLO in this game. And ZLO, even though the ACU went to the middle, ZLO has more mask extractors in the middle. That's pretty ridiculous. Pause of all the air production. Check out one thing about ZLO. If you watch his games, he always has many air factories. And if you're playing and you're kind of past this initial build order stage, there are situations where it's nice, and some maps where it's nice to build a whole bunch of air factories. In terms of mass, they're quite cheap, and they're just about as expensive as making your engineers for build capacity. A whole bunch of build capacity going. Oh, and Tech 2 Air, do not want to neglect that. This could be dangerous for ZLO, even though he has total air control. If somehow, oh, and check out Voodoo with the escort of a whole bunch of subs, he's going to assault ZLO. And if you can get ZLO down in health, these mercies could finish things off. Oh, but yeah, you got really nice scouting from ZLO. But that's the thing about Aeon. They're the kings of the comeback at the Tech 2 stage, and the Tech 2 Air, extremely dangerous. One thing to note about the Mercy, however, is the fuel. As we gotta check this out. This is important. ZLO is gonna attempt to make a PD. I think he's going to finish it, which will make the life for Voodoo very difficult. He's going to primary the PD. It will be finished nonetheless. And a destroyer now for ZLO. This is now not looking very good. There's no way to get those mercies to ZLO ACU. Check out Voodoo coming in from the back. He's got Auroras. He's got... Well, this is significant force. If ZLO could find himself in trouble, this will be extremely close. Although ZLO significantly less health. A destroyer from ZLO coming in as well. Voodoo. Yeah, if Voodoo starts getting hit by the destroyer, he's gonna lose health very rapidly. ZLO, I think, just might finish him off. And also, if Voodoo goes into the water, you won't be safe because of the destroyer. Tech 1 subs. Do they have torpedo defense? No defense. Oh yeah, it's over. It was an interesting idea at the end from Voodoo to try to steal the aim, but the air domination from ZLO, he never let Voodoo do anything. ZLO's air gave him total recon, got a critical kill in the expansion. He prevented any kind of comebacks from Voodoo. So very safe and solid play from ZLO. So ZLO is now 2 games up to none. Let's see if Voodoo can grab one back on this map. And let's see how many games I forget to do this. Oh, yep. Mass. Banana colors continue. Oh, check out. Voodoo is actually ahead on mass. That's what teching gives you, but... yeah, better eco. But less units. And even in... yeah, that's total build. Let's check out the kills, though. That's the difference. Many more kills for ZLO once again. Hello and welcome to Game 3 between ZLO and Voodoo. This time Voodoo once again goes with Aeon. ZLO with Cybern. Sticking to Cybern. ZLO has been dominant in the first 2 games. I think his air domination over Voodoo has really paid off in both games. Voodoo tried slightly different things, but didn't really matter, where he just couldn't get the expansions, and his ACU was always going to the middle. He's once again going to the middle. He's going to do something like game 1, where he wanted to get into ZLO base with his ACU, but he lost the naval battle because he had crappy Seraphim submarines. This time he can get some Aeon submarines. Maybe it'll work better. Meanwhile, I think ZLO has done the exact same build over all 3 games. There's no reason to change things when they work. One thing, yeah, well, these players are starting. Let's see how well this bomber does. And see at what point ZLO will react. I was told that there's a Chinese community that's pretty active, has a whole bunch of players who play this game, which is great. I don't understand why they're playing on not playing on FAF. Maybe there are some technical issues. I have no idea. But I really hope to see if they can. I would love to see them on FAF. So Scruffy, you can see here's the anti-air. 1 kill. Check out how the engineers are all split by ZLO. Could have been a disaster if ZLO had all 4 engineers in one place. But now that flag's going to go up, and you do not want to fly there if you're Voodoo. Voodoo won't make that mistake. He'll keep on circling around looking for engineers that are not protected by air. But there's almost an interceptor finished. The second air is extremely strong. Man, those trucks outside, yeah. 2 kills for the bomber, but that's likely all it's going to be. 2 kills and some good intel for ZLO. Voodoo, meanwhile, is just running across. Air, second naval. You don't see that very often. First air, second naval, no land for Voodoo, especially when you're Aeon on a map that has so much water. You can see Voodoo maybe not thinking clearly here. And if you look at the economies, yeah, there's a significant advantage to ZLO. It's very difficult to get that first bomber out, and you want to get a lot for it. I don't really think Voodoo did. He put a bunch of pressure, and look what ZLO is going to do. He knows that Voodoo is at a disadvantage in the economy, so he probably won't be able to make as much air, and he probably won't scout directly over his air turret. And ZLO will go ahead and make a transport. Somebody made a comment in the comment section asking why don't people make transports more often, really early on, and that's because if you lose that thing, you're gonna die. But in this case, ZLO realized the situation was perfect for a transport, and he will go ahead and do it. And that's going to be very difficult now for Voodoo to do anything about the top landmass. This is now very difficult. He's also built a naval. 2 naval factories producing submarines. See, and submarines are not cheap. Each one of them is 360 mass. You can think of a Ilsheva. That's 360 mass. That's 360 mass. So submarine spam is a little more pricey than frigate spam. Voodoo now almost at enemy base. And yeah, he didn't make anything in the middle. ZLO continues to go to the left landmass. And look at all those engineers, how they're spread by ZLO. This is just all kinds of bad. Voodoo will spot the naval factory, will attempt to reclaim it. Even if it reclaims that, ZLO has so many possibilities to get back into the Navy. It's not a big deal, except that Voodoo will get himself a little bit of mass. It's not a huge loss for ZLO. Especially that looks so good. And check out that economy. And Voodoo is not going to scout and realize things really suck. So what is he going to do? He's going to change his mind once again. He's going to attempt to go after... Oh, he's almost got tech to air. So you can see Voodoo realizing that things suck. Oh, and once again, this engineer was killed last time by the exact same bomber. So ZLO is just showing that he really knows this map, and he does the same thing. He denies expansion, and he grabs the big landmasses with his ACU. He scouts, he takes opportunities. There are no problems. Submarines are going to gather. These 3 subs, they look like small, really weak units. That's a tech-to-mass extractor right there. Voodoo will make his long trek. Look at this. For most of the 7 minutes, he's been walking underwater. Not the best way to use your best unit. And 3 games in a row, total air domination by Voodoo or by ZLO, which will make a Mercy snipe very unlikely. Mercy 10 health. Does not want to see an interceptor ever. ZLO realizing that there's an ACU coming his way. Okay, I guess he had the frigate. And tech to air from ZLO. Okay, so ZLO not wasting any time. Just action, pure action. No tech to mass extractors. Action. And that's one way to play as you're learning this game. You want to have a period of your learning experience where you attempt to play without upgrading any tech to mask characters. It might not be the best thing to do in all situations, but learn how to use all of your economy for offensive units. If you can do that and then scale back. So what we're seeing from ZLO here, the only extra eco that he gets is from capturing map control. Voodoo, reclaiming factories, capturing a factory. That's kind of nice. He is going to have Cyber Tech. He is also going to have a whole bunch of gunships over him. Yeah, this does not look good. ZLO very safe behind 2 point defenses. So it's, unless something crazy happens where Voodoo can sneak in a Mercy, it should be very difficult, even if he does, to do anything with that Mercy. I think this game is over. And a bomber, 11 kills already. Oh my, 15 kills. Abusive. ZLO abusing Voodoo here. This is bad. This is, I think, even worse than what Blackheart did to Zoc in the first 3 games. And I have to confess, I did ask Blackheart for suggestions for this best of 15, and I didn't agree with him on one map, which was Pizza. Instead of Pizza, I decided to put this map in, and maybe he was right. Maybe it should have been Pizza. I expected these games to be a little more even, but that's all good. We still have a whole bunch left. Hopefully Voodoo can put up a fight. The next one will be Loki, a lot more exciting. Maybe it's quite different from this. Maybe not more exciting, but not much excitement when you got this type of domination. Oh, look at these Mercies are hidden. They're poised to strike, but they're not going to get a chance to strike. Cyber and torpedo bombers. They don't care how shallow it is, they'll kill you. And a drop directly in Voodoo's base, so it's over. Yeah, 3 games to nothing. Very dominant. Very nice. So what else did I want to say? Yeah, the Chinese community I wanted to mention. I'd love to see them on FAF, and it doesn't surprise me that Chinese have a lot of people who would love to play this game. I think it takes a certain mentality. You can see the Germans, the Russians love this game, and I think the Chinese have also been an empire who's been in war for most of their history. Those are typically the peoples who have a lot of generals and who like logistics over tactics, and this game is all logistics. So let's go to game 4. Hello and welcome to game 4 between ZLO and Voodoo, both Cybern. If Guile ever casts any of these games, hope you can forgive him for not picking EF. I think Cybern on this map is fairly strong. I personally like Seraphim here, but Cybern right now is a great faction to have. Second air, not surprising. ZLO, he's probably going second air. He's got his ACU is going to be pretty busy. Which is probably a good idea. 3 land factories for Voodoo back home. Voodoo needs to start winning games. I mean, Zoc fell 4 games to nothing against Blackheart before. He really evened it out. But you don't want to put yourself in that type of hole. Not at all. And ZLO, when he gets creative and he has no pressure on him, he's just beautiful to watch. But I'm definitely rooting for Voodoo in this one. Check out their scores. These are the global scores. Very, very even. There's also a best of 5 tourney for 20 USD that's going to be played today between Mr. Smith and Mozart. That should be pretty cool. Probably hold those every now and then. Those should be good. If people have suggestions for the best of 5s. So I have the best of 15s, best of 5s. It's a nice format. It's more of a gladiator, spectator sport instead of a large tourney sport. ZLO. Yeah, 2 hunters. Look at all them hunters from Voodoo. A hunter fight in the middle, and ZLO wins. Let's see how far that hunter gets. Oh, definitely got to play as a +1. Good defensive mantis from ZLO. ZLO coming in. One thing I would love to do with these best of 15s, I think would be nice to have some interviews at the end. I think this might be first real blood Voodoo, unless he gets stuck on that mass extractor. He needs to kill that engineer ASAP. That's a big opportunity. There's also an analogous hunter for ZLO, and a very far expanding engineer. We're seeing first scouts from both players. Interceptor, paused bomber. Yep, successful kill for Voodoo. And here, this hunter for ZLO missed opportunity. Yeah, that thing doesn't have a radar, so he needs to realize there's an engineer there. 2 engineers for ZLO are going to eventually get the Hydra. Only 1 engineer for Voodoo will go after the Hydra, so it'll be a little more power for ZLO in a little bit. And yeah, this hunter realized that he needs to get something. There's also a couple inties and a bomber. So ZLO with the bomber, Voodoo guessing right with the interceptor. You can see where the interceptor is going. He knows that he needs to protect that engineer as a primary target. However, ZLO probably won't go after that engineer because he got the hunter on the case. And given that the hunter only has 16 health, if Voodoo can, yeah, oh, great play. Yeah, you gotta anticipate. You gotta give the move order exactly when that hunter doesn't have the move order. That was good teamwork from Voodoo and me. Oh, this engineer is gonna bypass the Hydra. This is a critical engie you don't want to lose if you're Voodoo. This bomber needs to get on the case. A bomber now for Voodoo as well. And on the expansion, an advantage to Voodoo. However, this is still a very vulnerable engie. A Mantis on the case. And now this bomber, some dodging. Successful dodge for Voodoo. Voodoo going with the ACU to the left side. That's an unusual direction. Meanwhile, yeah, the 2 ACUs are going to meet in the top left corner, which will make the battle for the right corner quite critical. It won't be an obvious situation. I think ZLO is beginning to take the initiative. He denied the engineer. He's got his engineer coming in. He's going to have multiple land factories built on this side of the water. Multiple land factories planned up top as well. And what happened here? These 3 mass extractors should have been taken a while ago. Voodoo on the bomber. Is he going to get the kill? Critical kill. No expansion whatsoever to the top. And this Mantis is not doing his job. Voodoo 21 mass versus 17 for ZLO. Absolutely not obvious what will happen in this one. A little more power for ZLO. Also check out the radar coverage for ZLO. It's a lot of radar directly in the middle. And he's got a fairly big push in this position. Imagine he has to know where Voodoo's ACU is going. He did have planes over his ACU. He's also, you can see he's got a couple scouts. So he's got at least some intel. He could be exposed right here. This is the lack of radar coverage engineering here is a weakness for ZLO. So if Voodoo begins to push there, which he's not, Voodoo is going to build up a rather large force on the right side. So if Voodoo can get an even battle against the ZLO ACU and take the bottom right corner, he'll be in a very good position. He already has a very big advantage on the economy. I don't really understand why. Maybe I missed why there was an engineer. Who killed that engineer? Why wasn't it sent? What just happened? That was a big explosion. Yep. Oh, this could get interesting for Voodoo. If ZLO realizes the position for Voodoo is quite vulnerable, although it might not be enough Manti. However, if this ACU turns around and starts assaulting Voodoo's ACU with all these Manti in support, I think he can get the victory. And now critical fight. I think Voodoo is going to take the bottom. He's got numbers. He's denied the production of those factories, which will be critical. And yeah, total domination by Voodoo on the bottom. He just needs to get engineers there. He can redirect some of these Manti to the top, or maybe even begin an assault on this position. Tech to land from ZLO. That's one of the reasons ZLO didn't have that many units. He's been tech into tech 2. He's also going tech to power, which will allow him to make a lot more air. And we know how much ZLO loves tech to air. Voodoo meanwhile making PDs. Medusa's on the case. Voodoo is behind enemy lines. This is what you call behind enemy lines. How are we is Voodoo gonna get a rescue operation going? He has put himself in an excellent position in terms of economy, but he's got to do something about... Oh, nice. Check out that NG from ZLO. Survivor. That might become critical later. Voodoo. Oh, if it wasn't Medusa's, Voodoo would probably be screwed. Let's see what the move orders... All these factories need to be making units to go to the top. We're seeing Tech 2, that's a support factory. So Tech to land from both players. Imagine ZLO probably has mass problems. Yeah, he has major mass problems. And he's going to have even bigger mass problems once he loses those mass extractors. Voodoo will try to make his escape. Does ZLO have radar? I think he does. He should realize that's the ACU. He needs to cut him off. If Voodoo gets to that pond, he'll be in a very good position. I think this is a lost opportunity for ZLO. He's been too focused on the PDs. He doesn't care about those PDs anymore. He needs to just go around them. But it's slipping away, Voodoo. Where is he gone? Why can't I see his move order? It's a secret move order. That doesn't make any sense. And now this force taking care of the last factories. What will Voodoo... Voodoo will retreat with it. He'll use it defensively. Check out this engineer. He's going to make trouble. Tech 2, Tech 1 land fight. Voodoo will actually pick up a couple of mass extractors. He gave up this position to ZLO. I don't believe ZLO realized the gravity of the situation here. He's almost content to just grab those mass extractors. I guess not. There's not much else he could do. Tech 2 flak. ZLO critically sneaks in a Tech 2 flak, which will make any kind of Tech 2 air assault from ZLO a lot less effective. And an air battle. Oh, bad micro from ZLO. He lost a lot of planes there. However, there's still a fairly big domination in the air from ZLO, although it might just slip away right now. Recovery from Voodoo. And there's another good Mantis. A lot of mass extractors that Voodoo should have, he doesn't. Nonetheless, total domination in eco by Voodoo. We're seeing transports, Tech 1, support factories. A lot of Tech 2. There's a couple of Rhinos I think might win the battle. Just need to get some engineers, I think. If ZLO can get some engineers and transport and grab all this, he might be getting back into the game. If he doesn't do that, could be in trouble in this battle. Big advantage to Voodoo. Voodoo will run this force over, and that will completely change things because now ZLO will be behind enemy lines. This force from ZLO, the only reason it's alive is that there's a point defense here, and Voodoo is just waiting for his ACU to join the battle. Because this is huge numbers. So after 12 minutes, we've seen a game in which Voodoo has finally shown he's as good as ZLO, which is nice to see. Unless there's some crazy situation where ZLO can snatch this back, I think with this force in this position, ZLO is pretty much screwed. He is beginning the recovery efforts on the right side, but if you're ZLO here, do you go into the pond or do you attempt to make an escape? Voodoo, yeah, will take that possibility away. What does it look like from ZLO? He does not have radar coverage, but he's got to guess that the ACU is somewhere close. Tech to flak will get a lot of kills. And the search for ZLO's ACU continues. ZLO will now reveal himself. The Air Force for ZLO still looks quite good. ZLO really recovering quickly. His eco is just as good as Voodoo's now. So a lot better play here on the right side, although ZLO, Voodoo is dispatching more units in that direction. Now ZLO picking a fight with some Tech 2 units. Does he have overcharge? Typically does not make power storage. He's got huge amounts of excess power. Does not have power storage. Makes him a lot more weak. Ooh, check out that drop against Tech 2. And I don't know if this recovery from the counterattack from Voodoo will work. These rhinos look really good right now. Successful rhino drop. This could be critical because now ZLO might actually have a chance to fight Voodoo 1v1. Both ACUs a little low on health. You can see a response from Voodoo. So the transports from ZLO, all the work they've put in, he's really made this game a lot more even than it probably should be. The assault from Voodoo only went as far as these two master characters. He will not retreat. He will not make an assault directly on ZLO starting position. Perhaps it's a smart move. And now in this battle, you see these rhinos. When you get 4 rhinos together against Much Tech 1, they can really hold their own. No losses. ZLO taking back a couple master characters. Voodoo playing safe, retreats. This game is not over. ZLO doesn't give up that easily. This is now not as obvious as I thought. Although Voodoo's still in a significant advantage, but Voodoo did suffer a couple losses here. He has completely lost the bottom right corner. He is now in the process of losing the top right corner to the ACU. He has done a lot of damage, but ZLO is so quick at recovering, and ZLO has also done damage to the front mass extractors of Voodoo, which results in a very even mass. You can almost see it. Yeah, it's very even. In terms of power, Voodoo slightly ahead, not significantly ahead. Big Tech 2 land spam, more power coming up. Tech 2 power for ZLO, which is really nice for him. And a total domination now by ZLO. This is a lot of rhinos. These rhinos can make a lot of progress. Wow, I did speak too early. This is definitely an even game. I want to put it at +2. I want to know what happens. Voodoo will attempt to counterattack up on top. He will move in with the ACU. ZLO making a PD. ZLO is still in a very bad position. He probably had a chance to make an escape. Instead, he started making mask extractors. And now this could be really bad. If there's Tech 2 air, perhaps ZLO can get a transport. But, oh yeah, so this Tech 2 force. Yeah. Voodoo will just finish the game. Also Tech 2 air coming in from Voodoo. It looks scary for a second, but now Voodoo just realized, probably took a breath, realized the situation, and realized he still had the game basically won. You can see this is a major force, a huge problem for Voodoo if ZLO didn't die right there. And finally, Voodoo wins air. This is now 3-1. Loki, 2 more games. Hello and welcome to the 5th game between Voodoo and ZLO. This is Loki. 3 games up for ZLO versus 1 game for Voodoo. Voodoo needs to continue winning to make this a good series. In the last game, he was quite dominant. See if anything changes. They were both Cybern last game. Once again, I expect to see second air. In the last game, Voodoo went Scout Entities. ZLO went Scout Bomber. I think the Bomber was the better. Well, I don't know. I don't know in this case. Usually Inties is a better choice, but I think that Bomber still got to shoot. Background noise. Alright, what is gonna happen? Last time there were hunters. Those hunters were quite critical. There were, I think, 2 hunters for each player. This time I'm seeing a lot less hunters for Voodoo. He's gonna go Mantis, but this engineer is exposed. So Voodoo might be doing a little gamble, hoping that this engineer will not be spotted. One thing about ZLO's hunters is that they don't have scouts with them. And yeah, lost opportunity. However, yeah, the second hunter will pick it up. Actually, this could be perfect. The ZLO, instead of attacking with this hunter, will attack with the other. And he is in a position to grab 2 kills. Will Voodoo reclaim? Nope. Successful kill. Oh, I missed it. The top fight was more important. Maybe not more important, but more exciting, where Voodoo once again reclaims a hunter. Don't leave your hunters next to Voodoo. He will take them. The ACU for Voodoo, though, he's running up. He has been spotted now. The ACU for ZLO still building. Mantis on Mantis battles. Small numbers. It looks like ZLO will be able to defend. Voodoo decided to take a long route. But yeah, not losing that engineer for Voodoo was critical. Seen inties, scouts and inties. Yeah, no bombers yet. However, Voodoo rushing up with ACU, and he has been spotted, so ZLO will have the opportunity to put up a defense. He will meet Voodoo's ACU with his own, which is quite dangerous for Voodoo, unless he plans to put a bunch of land forces next to his ACU. Voodoo will likely lose this battle. Although there are a lot of forces here that Voodoo can bring in for support. Voodoo also putting in... Yeah, Voodoo's going to have a little bit of support. And now Voodoo will retreat. Okay, so I think he's got a scout. He realizes that the ACU for ZLO will chase him. And this is critical. That engineer is going to die. Let's see how many mass ejectors die. And an engineer up on top. Oh, 30 health on that Mantis. And the loss of an NG for ZLO on the right side. Voodoo with a mass advantage. Voodoo will attempt to make a factory. Although, total air domination, it seems. Well, there is an air force for Voodoo as well, and a transport. That's an NG transport from ZLO. Yeah, this Mantis is a hero. It's going to deny a lot of potential mass for Voodoo. ZLO knows exactly what's happening with his air force. Oh, and nice. That's a big loss. Big loss for ZLO. Here, minute 6. However, Voodoo will now lose his air force, but that transport with a whole bunch of NGs was killed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who's going to have the size. All the engineers have been killed. Which player can get engineers into the corners quicker? As we're also going to see, oh, look at all these NGs moving in, but they're not protected. These Manta from Voodoo have a huge opportunity to make all kinds of problems for ZLO, as we're going to see the ACUs fight. ZLO attempting to put a more build capacity in this position with a nice flow of units. Big land spam. Voodoo pretending he is Samurai, or actually no, it's not Samurai. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. That one player who would just spam Manta like crazy. I apologize. I played him so many times. And tech to gunships from ZLO. Oh no, this ZLO once again shows he watches the game and then he makes the best decision based on the situation. Does Voodoo have enough air force to kill those gunships? However, ZLO is isolated versus a whole bunch of Manti. Who will die first? Vet 11 kills, ZLO 8 kills. Gunships or Manti? These gunships can choose to fight against the Manti. Wow, this is air versus land here. This could be a draw. This could be a draw. Wow, this is beautiful. This is really excellent. One of the most beautiful draws you might ever see. A very quick Loki. So if it's a draw, I guess it's nobody's won. Still 3-1 to ZLO. Hello and welcome to game 6. So this is 3-1. We had one draw. Voodoo and ZLO getting a draw on this map in a very strange fashion. Tech to air versus Tech 1 land with the two ACUs standing next to each other. It's quite nice. That's why I wanted to see these two players play. See some things unusual. Voodoo is going to sit back home for a little while. Unlike the last game where he ran away from home. Wanted to put pressure on ZLO. ZLO saw that and countered with ACU and thought he was going to get the win, but I don't think he anticipated such a big land spam from Voodoo. And I should have looked up who that player was. A Cybern player with a great micro that you could counter with Medusas. But it's just brutal. He would just run up with ACU and make a big Mantis spam. Run across. And it's not Iridium Blows, who was also quite good at that. But a different player who left after they nerfed Cybern. Guess it wasn't as fun anymore. Is this going to be second air? Third air from ZLO. I guess that's something unusual. Voodoo. Oh, Voodoo with the first gesture. Wow. Okay, that's once again unusual. First gestures are, in this case, it's great because ZLO has already started making his second land. So unlucky for ZLO. So what, the question, I want to slow this down. I want to know exactly what will be targeted by this gesture. Engineers, because they have the lowest health. And of course, the flak out of Siren Factories is so weak. And yeah, he's gonna get ZLO to start onto air and an air factory. This gesture needs to maximize because it's such an expensive unit. It needs to kill as many expanding engineers as it can. It has to make sure. Oh, unlucky. I think he's hitting the side of the mountain. Oh my goodness. Some things are quite critical. Oh, that gesture took entirely too long. But you can see the effect has already been quite large. Check out ZLO economy. He might just power stall here because of that air factory. But he's made a whole bunch of flak. He's lost a couple NGs. He's going to lose another one. Ideally, if Voodoo could have killed this NG quick, killed these two, and then kill the other one. I don't know if this gesture will have what it takes to kill the engineers over here. Plus the flak's going in that direction. Voodoo, meanwhile, is sitting back home. He does have a couple of expanding engineers. And Mantis, a couple of Manta are not coming out. I'm going to attempt to make, to do damage. ZLO anticipating that the gesture will come around. You can see that scout. And, yeah. A power stall is coming. This interceptor was critical. Interceptor NGs for ZLO, making just enough. Oh, gets around. Oh, wow, look at that. So unlucky for ZLO there. And if this gesture, I think, yeah, it will come in. It will do enough damage. If it can kill his engineers before they finish the Hydra, it will really suck. I don't think it will happen. The Hydra is finished. A big boost of power for ZLO. However, the gesture is not done doing his damage. And yeah, it looks like the engineer up here has never made it. Voodoo once again will come out with ACU, will attempt to put pressure. This is the most unusual of all the Loki games we've seen. The previous two, I guess the first one is pretty usual. The second one was, yeah, rather crazy. And this one, seeing first gesture, is also rather crazy. But I think ZLO played it quite well. He did take the losses that you would expect, but he didn't kill himself. And also the fact that the gesture kept hitting the mountain really helped ZLO. And now finally the gesture's dead. I think he got 6 kills. On the expansion, yeah, this Mantis will deny this engineer. Interesting that Voodoo doesn't stop to get the Hydra. He just wants to grab those mass extractors. Voodoo does not like Hydras because it takes so much build capacity to actually complete them. This engineer will be critical. You can see Manti for Voodoo are going to attempt to defend it. Good scouting from ZLO. And in terms of power, a big advantage to ZLO, and that's the Hydra. The ACU for ZLO will go around the outside, so he'll actually leave his base without an ACU, and it'll be very difficult for ZLO actually to recover back to his base. I guess he could walk back like that, but I think he might just have to do that. Voodoo well on his way to ZLO's base. Transport from ZLO, and the previous game was critical that Voodoo kill the transport. This time, his transport will be successful, which will result in huge amount of economy for ZLO. ZLO having no problems on the right side yet until he'll see this ACU. This ACU for, and now Tech to land for ZLO. Voodoo's ACU, I don't think it's been spotted. Voodoo will now see Tech 2 land. He'll see a Rhino. Does Voodoo have power storage? Yeah, he has it now. It does not have too much excess power, which will make overcharging difficult. The bomber takes out an engineer for ZLO. Yeah, this transport was successful. And these engineers for ZLO are going to continue. They're going to create a base here on the left side. And meanwhile, yeah, the transport's still alive, which makes a possibility for some Tech 2 drops. Manti overpower a Rhino. Interesting that Voodoo, instead of going directly into base, he's going to go against these two mass extractors. He'll wait for support. ZLO will attempt to make a foothold on the right side. Well, that transport got ran over. And here, are we going to see a PD? Is there a PD? Tech 2 PD has been started. There's also a Rhino. The Manta will move in multiple Rhinos. If these engineers are primary, you got to kill that T2 engineer. The T2 engineer is dead. The Manta just run past the defense. They killed all the engineers in the process. They're going to keep on running. That was a major assault on ZLO. ZLO could be in trouble. There are also Medusas coming in. And yeah, that T2 PD was not finished. Gestures on the case. And once again, ZLO has total air coverage, even under very difficult situations. Some flak built by Voodoo. Tech 2 engineer needs to come back and complete that T2 PD. However, the ACU for Voodoo pretty much full health. We'll move in. Are we going to see fire beetles? Yes, fire beetles. So ZLO anticipating that he needs to do a lot of damage to that ACU. 10,000 health. And some overcharges. He needs to kill that T2 PD. If Voodoo can kill the T2 PD and then kill that T2 power, but Voodoo retreats, oh, that's probably the right choice. Another overcharge. Because you can see he's rapidly losing health. Fire beetle standing by. Oh, and that Mantis was just a little late. The factory's finished for ZLO. Yeah, I don't know if people have predictions of what will happen. This bomber's been great, denying any kind of expansion. ZLO acting as an engineer. Who has map control? I don't know. In terms of eco, slight advantage to ZLO. ZLO also has a power advantage. It's because of this Tech 2 power. He's got Raider. I think with enough units, Voodoo can put up an assault on this position. He just needs to avoid the fire beetles. These fire beetles are specifically anti-ACU units, so if you can kill them with your regular units. Also, if Voodoo or Tech 2 air from Voodoo, but he does not have air control. I don't know if he's really in a position to do Tech 2 air. But he is with Tech 2 air. If Voodoo can deny map control with this gunship, can come over there, take care of the problem, which will be critical because it's a lot of potential mass for ZLO. Voodoo continues to get more and more units. Now we see two G2PDs. Yeah, the time for a Tech 1 assault I think is slipping away. I don't know if you want to do that. If you're a Voodoo, might as well. Okay, so the assault will take place. Where are the fire beetles there? Going back. T2PDs are getting a lot of kills, 10 kills. Oh, yeah. Voodoo takes out one PD. Total air domination continues. Where are the gunships at? I don't think those gunships lived. Voodoo. Oh, and there, that's the fire beetles. They ruin your day. But the T2PD was killed just in time. Gestures. Medusas versus Gestures. Voodoo racing back to his Tech 1 anti-air. Also, Hoplite gets a shot in. However, I think there was enough damage done. And Voodoo with 1,000 health. That was extremely close. Extremely close, but he killed all the defensive units in ZLO's base. And one more fire beetle would have done it, or even another PD or anything. Just a nudge. Oh, and a big victory for Voodoo. I think this might be a decisive victory. Those are critical units for ZLO. Look at the power. ZLO attempting to rebuild. What does ZLO have? I mean, he does have nice forces in random places. This Tech 2 land force might do some damage. Although I think with an air loss, ZLO doesn't have the power, so he's going to lose air control. These will be very vulnerable against Tech 2 air. And gunships coming out for Voodoo. Voodoo is quite low on health still. If I was Voodoo, I'd get in the water and get stealth and pretend my ACU doesn't exist. I think do everything else with land units. Get total air control. Make sure you know exactly what ZLO is doing. He's a crazy dude. He will figure out a way to win, and he'll do it to you. So you gotta try to figure out what he's doing. Play safe. But much larger land forces for Voodoo everywhere are going to begin denying map control. New HQ is necessary for ZLO. He does not have access to Tech 2. That's a support factory. It's basically a Tech 1 factory with double the build capacity. Good assault from ZLO. How the heck is that possible? 29 to 19. Voodoo has no mass. Amazing. How do you explain that? ZLO has more mass extractors, and Rhino for ZLO is coming back home. Is gonna try to deny any engineers that might be in the area, and an assault coming in from Voodoo. Voodoo takes out that whole top corner. It will be very difficult for ZLO to recover, and I think he will do that. A couple more Rhinos are alive for ZLO, and I think now ZLO realizes he's screwed. Yeah, with only 220 power and no air, it's depressing to play that way. Yeah, if ZLO couldn't figure out a way to win, and that's one of the reasons he probably doesn't want to play, because there's a gunship over him and denying him power production. And another Tech 2 gunship. Yeah, so no silly mistakes from Voodoo. He's going to take what's given to him. And once he gets an engineer into here, his mass problems are going to be solved. Although that's rather ridiculous. ZLO getting hit. Let's speed it up. Yeah, and you can already see this ACU has recovered. He's getting some more upgrades. More gunships on the case. ZLO making onto air turrets, and now all the land forces are just going to converge on ZLO's ACU. And he'll control case. So 18-minute game. It is now 3-2 in favor of ZLO. Very even tourney, the way I like to see it. Let's see a couple more games.